It is beautiful this morning compared to what it has been. I just got out here and I forgot my camera and had to go back in, so now they're a little bit peeved at me that I came out and went back in. But it's so nice. It's probably in the mid-70s, but there's just no humidity, which is more like what our summers typically are. Today's the last day it's gonna be like that. It was like this yesterday. Good morning. Where are my friends? Yes, we're angry. We're all super angry, aren't we? Yeah, Poppy especially yelled all day yesterday. All right, are we ready for breakfast? There. It's really nice, but it's gonna be back up to 100 degrees in the middle of the week this week, so just taking advantage of that today. We got some trees down yesterday because it was like not quite as hot. We had somebody come out and spray for wasps on Friday, and it's helped some, but they did not spray inside the barn. And I think there's a nest like back in here somewhere that I need to probably address. And there are probably some up in the rafters, and so I think what I'm gonna have to do is basically get some kind of spray and spray the interior rafters of the barn as well, down in these like spots where I can't see. That's also where they're like in the house, so. All right, let's have breakfast, girls. Yes, let's have breakfast. We're gonna let Chai Baby stay here and eat her some food. She has like all the nicknames, of course, now. Chai Bunny, Chai Baby, Chai Chai, bless her. Go feed these hooligans. I gave them some bread a few minutes ago that my mom had brought that I had forgot about. Jeremy was like, are you ever gonna give this mess or we need to throw it away? He was taking the trash out, and I was like, oh, yeah, let's feed them that. They've had a lot of leftovers lately. It's good for Piggle Wiggles. The Fluff Nugget got groomed. He looks fabulous. They did a really good job, but then they asked us not to ever bring him back. So I've got to find a new groomer. We'll just walk in. Their bowls are everywhere. So that's exciting. A little bit frustrated. They've groomed him for the last 3 years. And I think the issue is they don't want to do big dogs, especially not big double-coated dogs. They mostly do smaller dogs. Like I've never seen anything other than like a doodle, like maybe a Labradoodle or a Golden Doodle in there. Most of the time it's like little Shih Tzus and smaller dogs. And she was just like, he's too big for us. We don't have the facilities. Okay. Good morning. Yes. Come on. Where do you have breakfast? Yeah, we have breakfast up here. Come on. Oh, I know. Yeah. Yep, this is a traffic jam. Traffic jam. There's pig week, guys. Mom's in shorts. Can we not make her walk through the pricklies? Keep going, Pork Chop. Keep going, guys. Get Luke to come down here and eat. I think he's a little bit confused. I don't normally walk in and feed them. That's my bad. Toonie will probably eat the extra grain because that's what Toonie does. Hopefully they'll get out and graze a little bit today. They both look really good. And they have been getting out some. It's just been so hot. So we have obviously stopped milking. I'll kind of explain a little bit about what happened this week and why. Really, it was the best decision with the heat that we could make for them. But there were a couple of things that like kind of added to my decision, just like aside from like straight up just the heat. They were all things that are happening because of the heat and because we haven't had rain. So it's rained once in the last maybe 3 weeks, and we don't have any chances of rain for the next 2 weeks. So I think we're gonna go at least a month with just that one rain. And that was last weekend. On Sunday, I think it rained for a few hours, and it has been over 100 degrees this week, which is super unusual. Like, it's the first time in over 10 years that it's been over 100 degrees here. It's not been 100 degrees since we've lived here. Like, since we moved here, it's not been 100 degrees. So that is definitely why it's so unusual for us. And I want to talk about a little bit the differences between why this is such an issue for us, but it might not be for someone else that's dealing with the heat because of our management style. They were very angry yesterday when I stopped milking. And if you've not been with us, we stopped milking cold turkey and we reduced their feed. That is one of the evidence-based ways to dry does off. There are a lot of people who will argue with me in the comments that their does would get mastitis. We've never had mastitis. Doesn't mean it won't happen. But it is an evidence-based, scientific-backed way to quit milking, and it is supposedly one of the better ways to do that and not get mastitis. I'm gonna get chai. Say good morning, YouTube. I'm trying to get all the best. Where did it go, baby? Yeah. Ready to go goats today? It's not so hot. Not so hard to baby goat today. You're such a good girl. Oh, your little rooming is working. Yeah, it's a sweet girl. Say hi, Aunt Daisy. Okay, ready? They did not want to go out yesterday. It took so long to get them out because we were outside working. We cut down, cut down this tree. There was a tree growing in my flower bed over there, and then there was a dead tree in the front that we cut down and dug up the stump and all that. So, can we go out for the day? Oh! Yep. What Mom didn't do. Come on, Bean. This is not a place for goats. Come on, buddy. Oh, y'all. Absent-minded professor today. Way. There you go. Well, that was probably the easiest that's ever gone. Living right, guys. Come on. Let's go! So we pulled that Christmas looking tree up. They got to eat that yesterday. I don't think they're gonna come out. We'll see. They're eating that. The boys are trimming up the other part of the tree. We're trying to dry out some of the limbs from the tree that was in the flower bed so that we can, we have a little electric chipper. Maybe use it for some bedding. Come on, my girlfriends! Let's go! Oh, the fence is down. We just been all kind of struggles this morning. one of the reasons that we decided to dry everyone off. So Thursday, I came out and Poppy had scours. Poppy's my best producer. Several other goats were pooping logs. So I had done a herd check last week. Colors weren't like the best that I've ever seen them, but weren't bad for this time of year. So we wormed everyone Thursday, and I started copper bolusing Friday. I still have a couple more to go. It's just a lot harder to copper bolus than it is to worm. And so, in talking with some friends that are local, there are some herds that are having some huge issues with barber pole worms because of the heat. And what's happening is the grass isn't growing. And so because we are on a pasture system, and they have more than enough to eat. There's more than enough grass. It's not the problem. It's that it's not growing. So they're eating kind of on the same stuff over and over again. It's too hot and too buggy for us to really get into trying to pull the rest of our nets out. I had debated just ordering some because we have some extra money, but I do have the parts for the charger ordered. So, but no rain means no grass growth. It's too hot. It's burning up the grass. There's extra stress on the goats. Milking them is extra on their body. Barber pole worm, we went from like, before it got super hot, managing parasites well for summer to not managing parasites well in 3 or 4 of them. All were milking does that were struggling. So I just stopped milking as of yesterday. So today's Sunday. Stopped milking Saturday. We will keep a close eye on everyone. It's just better overall for them health-wise, especially if we're gonna struggle with barber pole. Can kill them pretty fast in this heat because if they have scours as a result, oh, you're okay. You're okay. Then they get dehydrated and sick pretty fast. September is usually the time of year we really struggle. It's like late August, September when it is super hot and the pastures are burned up. So we're just getting that like a little bit early this year. They're all leaving me because Poppy got scared. That's what we're gonna do. It stinks. This is the earliest I've ever stopped milking. I have only milked for about a month, for some context. So I have not used any of the milk, but what I was looking at was worming them this week, having to wait 2 weeks, and then probably worming them again at 21 days if this weather holds out. Like, we aren't mowing this anymore as of right now, in hopes that we will have it for the winter because we're so worried the grass is not going to grow. I have fed her, I promise. She got fed first this morning. She's just become very yowly. And then looking at 2 weeks and then doing it again in 21 days and having to wait another 2 weeks, I'm back at school. So after about like 4 weeks, I think I'm 4 or 5 weeks away from going back to work. Not even, yeah, like 4 weeks from going back to work. And then we're back at work and I have not been able to use the milk all summer. It's not gonna hurt me as far as like, I'm not giving up being able to use the milk at all. Are you just neglected? Are you just a poor neglected kitty? So Mom spent an hour last night sitting on the porch petting you, giving you all the snuggles. Say, but I need morning snuggles and I need evening snuggles and I'm the best kitty. Waka, waka. Come on, look under your armpit. You got something going on. Yes, I know. Nobody has said this, but I do want to kind of clear up this particular point, just in case some of you guys are confused and you watched Danelle over at Weed 'em and Reap. She lives in Arizona. It is a million degrees out there all the time. They milk through the summer. Why is it different for us and it's different for them? Number one, it is hot for them like this all the time, so their animals are very used to it, which is a big part of weather-related issues for goats. If it is climate that the goat is adapted to, any farm animal, it's usually fine. If it is extreme weather that the animal is not adapted to and not used to, then it is much harder and there's a lot more stress. The number two thing is we feed our animals on pasture. So their number one nutrition is pasture, and Danelle raises backyard goats. This is not planted, what I want you guys to understand, it's not sod. This isn't sod. There are weeds, there are things to forage, there are the trees, there's an angry cat. Danelle feeds her animals hay and grain and other feed. That's their primary source of nutrition. So for them, no matter what the weather is, they have a really stable diet, which is great. It's just not as economical for us particularly. And we have pasture. Goats would rather forage. It's their natural instincts. And so for them, this is healthy, it is good for them, but it is totally different management system. They don't really struggle with parasites in Arizona. They're also not eating off the ground, which means they don't struggle with parasites. So it's just not as an issue for her the way it is for us. Both are great ways to manage. I love watching her be able to manage her herd in her backyard. I think it's phenomenal. It's just not our setup and how we've chosen to do ours. These guys want to be out on the grass because that's what they're used to. Isn't it, Twizzler? Now they're mad and they're gonna yell for a couple of days because they want the extra food. But what you have to do is pretty much cut their grain down significantly or totally not give them grain to help them dry off faster. It took Bunny about 2 weeks and she totally dried off. I think these other girls are gonna be the same way. I don't think it's gonna take long with the heat. This one doesn't produce milk because he's a boy. Right, Pepperoni?